All right, happy Thanksgiving weekend. This was the view of my USC suite. We watched USC versus UCLA. This is my fiance and her mom, and also the rest of the family came out here. My mom and dad, and cousins, and it was just awesome to really have this amazing view to spend it with the family. And I think that's what Thanksgiving is all about. And we also had a lot of pies. But I want to talk to you today about money. I know some of you guys are offended when I post big stacks of cash. Some of you guys are inspired. I'm going to keep doing it because I'm going to remind you that you have a choice. I posted this like with the liquor here on Saturday night. We already got 8,000 plus likes because I said, you know what? This is your choice every weekend. Vodka, tequila, or financial freedom in the dream life. A lot of you guys drink too much. Obviously, I've had my days where I've drunk too much, if you ever watch any of my reality TV shows. But at the end of the day, more than drinking, more than going out and sacrificing, my future really to hang out and relax and let steam off, and you need to focus on studying. That's how you get the money. My millionaire students and I, we're not math geniuses. We're not overly intelligent. We just have determination. We work harder than other people. I tweeted this the other day and I said, if you want to be part of the 1%, do what the self-made 1% have done. Study hard and invest in yourself, especially on weekends. And a lot of you guys seem to get it, and that's good. But there's a difference between getting it and doing it. It's not so much fun to ignore your friends and, sometimes stay in on a Friday or Saturday night. Oh, gasp. Well, that's what you have to do if you really want to change your life and do better than other people, especially financially. Then you have the freedom. Once you have the freedom, you can do whatever you want. You can go hang out with friends. You don't have to study as hard. But first you need to get the money so that you don't have the bosses, you don't have the loans, you don't have the mortgage debts. I get more emails from people with issues and problems than probably anybody else. So I see what the problem is, and it comes down to hard work and study. And that's why I'm so proud of these newsletters on Profitly. We have a 48-hour deadline right now, roughly, for this Thanksgiving sale, where you save 30, 40, 50, 60% on different newsletters and 50, 60, 70% on DVDs. Please, please, please take advantage of it, okay? Even my How to Make Millions DVD. Some people are like, oh, Tim, you just do it for all the money. Well, How to Make Millions all goes to charity, and we've raised nearly $1 million. It's 35 hours long, and it's comprehensive. So when people are asking me in the chat room, what is an earnings winner? I don't know how to find these big percent gainers. It's because you haven't studied, okay? You want simple one-word, one-sentence answers, and that's not going to change your life. I'm here to change your life, as I already have with several millionaire students, and now more and more students are making 5 and 6 figures a year. But it's an entire mindset, it's not just about getting hot picks. So with that in mind, let me talk about the hottest stock right now, which is CYCC. This was up nearly 50% on I guess Friday, where it was a half-day trading. I bought this and alerted this right here at 74.75 cents. It was already up. The spike was already there. My stocks to trade scanner picked it up. If you send an email to admin@timothysykes.com and get on the early bird list for stocks to trade, we are currently having a few people beta test it before we get ready for the final unveiling, which should be any day now. But we're perfectionists, and we've put in nearly $1 million into developing stocks to trade from scratch. But I've been using it, and it helped me alert this news that CYCC was up on rumors that KBIO, the CEO, has teased that he's going to acquire other companies. So a few people made the case that this was going to be the one that he acquires. I did not believe it from the very beginning. If you look at, where are my trades? I have too many trades right now. Those are the DVDs. These are the newsletters. And really take advantage of these sales. It's just a great opportunity to invest in yourself and save money. Here is my first trade. So I went over this really quickly, buying this at 75 cents. And I said, bought this stock running on KBIO acquisition rumors. Probably not going to happen. But I'll buy whatever is hot on a Friday holiday, as the risk reward is great, given that it could run. If I'm wrong, I'll lose 2 cents. Goal is to sell in the 80s or 90s. So let's go back to the chart with that in mind. I'm buying it here at 75, 74 cents. If I'm wrong, okay, so what? And it goes down to 70 cents and I lose 2, 3, 4, 5 cents a share. No big deal. The point is that I was prepared because I know that holiday runners with thin holiday trading can really run. No matter if the rumor is true or not. A lot of people in the chat room are like, Tim, this rumor is BS, you know it, how dare you buy this? I don't care if the rumor is true or not. And I specifically warned saying that it's probably not going to happen, but this could be a holiday runner. So don't ever say, Tim, you're pumping the rumors, you're saying it's going to happen. I'm not pumping the rumors. I specifically mentioned that it's probably not going to happen. If you look at my follow-up commentaries in the chat room, all archived, all time-stamped, I specifically say there's like a 99.9% chance that this is not going to be an acquisition. But at the same time, I recognize the good risk-reward opportunity. And this is what a lot of you guys need to learn. Risk reward. It's not just about buying, a hot stock. It's about where you're buying it. Some of you guys are buying this thing at 90, 95 cents. And yeah, it goes up to $1.05 and you profit. But when you're buying a stock on thin holiday trading where the rumor probably is not true, anybody with any intelligence or a brain knows that. When you're buying it up here, even though you're making money, because in this case, I underestimated it, and somebody who bought it at 85, 90 cents, they're making money, and they're like, haha, Tim, I told you we'd keep going. I don't need to play it conservative. You're learning the wrong lessons. So before you ever buy a stock, before you ever short a stock, think about what is your risk? What is your downside if you're wrong? A lot of people have been rubbing it into me in messages that I underestimated it and that they were right, buying big at 90 and 95 cents a share. Okay, you got a little lucky this time. I got a little lucky. I didn't know this was going to be the biggest holiday runner. I had several trades on Friday. This turned out to be the biggest one. On all of them, I played it safe. This was not my biggest profit, but it was my best call as it turned out to be. It's a good example to show you what a holiday runner can look like even when the news isn't that concrete. And I also shorted this stock, and this has led to a lot of confusion because they're like, Tim, you pump it up and then you short it, so now you're dumping it. Both ways, I'm specifically saying that the rumors are probably untrue, okay? And that is a very important distinction. I'm not pumping and dumping it. I'm specifically piggybacking volume. There was so much volume on this stock. What did it trade? 7 million shares. I'm buying and selling and shorting like 5, 10, 15,000 shares. I am a very small piece of this, but I recognize the power. And next year, when I trade with just $12,000 and you see me how I grow it, you will see that it doesn't matter my position. I'm trying to trade in order to teach. And part of the reason why I shorted late day is because I wanted to warn you that, yes, it did run up on a Friday, but most likely next week, this thing is going to crash because the rumors are probably untrue, and the only reason this went up is because it's a holiday runner, okay? So I don't want you playing these the wrong way. So I actually shorted this late day. And I said shorted using Interactive Brokers. Interactive Brokers had, I think it was like 600,000 shares available short. So it could have been a lot. And I said shorting into the market close since the rumors are BS and the run-up is likely just due to thin holiday trade. Small position though, due to risk. I'll explain more in 5 Lesson Friday. And my goal was to cover under 90 cents a share. In after hours, I actually covered it and I made a few cents a share. Frankly, just because I was scared. It kept going up after hours. And it's okay to be scared. You see here after hours it was still finishing at 103, 104, 105. This could keep running to 110, 120, maybe 130. But I do believe that this will crash back under $1, probably even under 90 cents, probably even under 80 cents, because it's just a holiday runner. So it's very important that you recognize what is the catalyst. But also, what is the risk? A lot of people thought that KBIO was worthless at $2 and $3 and $4 and $5, and it keeps going and it's nearly $40. So you could be wrong on any stock with the valuation and your risk reward, but it's okay. It's okay to trade scared. It's okay to even chase a stock as long as you recognize that you're chasing it. And you're like, if you're buying this at 85, 90, 95 cents a share, your downside risk, if the rumor is proven to be wrong, Martin Shkreli of KBIO tweets very often. He could easily say, you know what, I'm not interested in CYCC. He's that kind of a weird, transparent guy, which is both good and bad. So if you're buying this at 85, 90, 95 cents a share, he could squash you like a bug. So if he squashes it here and I'm buying it at 75 cents a share, okay, he squashes it and I lose 2, 3, 4, 5 cents. I understand my risk. But at the same time, I thought, when I'm buying it at 75, I thought it could get to like 95 cents a share. That was best case. So if there's like 3 cents of risk and 20 cents of upside, my risk reward is 7 to 1. That's very good. Okay? And I want that kind of risk reward on every single trade, especially on thin holiday trading. And shorting it here, I was scared because, it could go down to like 90 cents or 85, and it probably will, and I'd make, 10, 15 cents a share. But what if it keeps going? What if this rumor is not just a rumor? What if I'm wrong? What if I get squeezed? This could go up to $2. So I was very scared on my short, even though it'll probably likely turn out to be right. And I was very aggressive on my buy just because I knew what day of week it was and how, thin holiday trading can go. So a lot of people are confused. How do you buy and how do you short a stock on the same day? Well, I'm buying it and shorting it at 2 very different prices. Okay, I'm not just buying it at 75 cents and then shorting it at 75 cents. I'm buying it here because there's a lot of upside and a lot of potential, and it turned out to be dead on right. And I shorted it in here because I thought that it had gotten overextended. And, both of them were profits. My long call was obviously better so far. Shorts I already covered just because I trade scared and it just wasn't cracking after hours like I thought. I'll be looking to probably short this next week. I think this will drop maybe 10, 20, 30, 40%. If Martin squashes it, or, if big volume comes back to the stock. I mean, there were a lot of big sellers, but frankly, the sellers and the shorters were just scared on thin holiday trading. But when the rational market resumes on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, this thing will probably drop. So I just wanted to clear up a lot of misinformation out there. But long story short, this was one of the best tweets I saw from El Matatan, and he said, I need to enroll in Timothy Sykes' chat room so I won't be missing opportunities like this. And that's what this comes down to. Whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to show you specific opportunities. And yes, if you look at 15, 16 years of my trading, I happen to be right roughly 3/4 of the time. That doesn't necessarily mean that, you're going to win 3/4 of the time. It just means that I have a fairly good batting average. And I know past performance is not indicative of future returns, but if you're going to follow anybody's chat room and, see a strategy and try and learn it, you want to follow and learn from a strategy that has been successful, that actually has created millionaires, and that has a public track record. There's a lot of people out there who don't show their trades, and they don't have millionaire students. So I'm very, very proud of my transparency. I'm very, very proud of my successful students, but I want more. I want more like no other. You have no idea the lengths I will go to create more millionaire students. And I'm not just talking about giving $1 million away, okay? I have all this money to charity. I'm not just gonna give it to a student. I want you to become self-sufficient. That is the beauty of teaching. And $1 million, in today's world, it's really not like gonna make you like, oh, I made $1 million. I never have to work again. After taxes, after expenses, if you wanna live well, it's just a start, but it's a very solid start, and it's a very good goal. The part of the reason why I talk about $1 million so often, and part of the reason why I show, pictures of cash and stuff like that, is because statistics and academic studies have shown that your performance is increased when you have a big goal. So some people don't like it. Oh, Tim, you shouldn't talk about millions. You shouldn't show cash. It is better for you to have a giant goal in the future. Not to say that you're going to make $1 million today, but eventually, with this craft, with this technique, with this strategy, you want to make $1 million. And having that big goal, even if you have 500, 2,000, 5,000 to your name, it puts you in the right mindset. Because it's not like you're going all in on stocks. It's not like you're using leverages. You're thinking about how should you, gradually learn a strategy. How do you get used to this volatility? Oh, wait, you can buy and short sell a stock in the same day. It's called trading. That's what traders do. You don't need to stick to one position and go down with the ship like an investor does or a mutual fund does. You can be more agile. You can adapt to price action. But always have your goal in the back of your mind. For the first few months, it's not even about the profits that you make. Tim Grottani, arguably the single best trader in the world, taking roughly $1,500 of his own money, turning into now nearly $3 million in 4 years. He lost rather consistently for the first few months. So I know a lot of you guys want to start making money right away, but you have to learn right away. You have to study right away. You need to develop good habits. And that's what these DVDs are all about. Tim Grottani's DVD, Trading Tickers, right here. This is 45% off for the last time. You need to watch this. He has nearly 4 dozen live trades. My How to Make Millions, Spikeability, Answer Stock, Timdicator, School Trader, Penny Stocking Part 2, and Penny Stocking the Original. Timline, where it talks about specific times of the day that are better to trade and how to trade, at noon versus 2 p.m. versus 3 p.m. Eastern. You need to be prepared and develop good habits if you want to make that $1 million and you really want to change your life. So anyways, watch CYCC next week. This is my #1 potential short or reshort, I guess. I hope that they spike it up a little more. I don't really like shorting stocks this low. It's scary. But I do believe that this will drop. And I simply took advantage of the holiday run, and I even underestimated how high it could go. But rationale and logic will return to the market, and when that happens, you don't want to be caught left holding the bag. I know some of you guys in the chat room, you're buying it at 90, 95 cents, $1 a share, not thinking about risk reward, and you're just opening yourselves up to disaster. So when you buy it at the start of a run, after it's already run a little bit, notice I wasn't first. It had already spiked on volume before, and that's fantastic. But if you're buying a stock on a holiday with very little risk, that's a really solid entry. It's very difficult not to be proud of an entry in here anywhere, because there's just not much risk and there is upside. And there is the catalyst, and that makes short sellers scared. And that's exactly what we saw. But buying it at 90, 95 cents, $1, very, very different story. Yes, there's a chance that it could go full on supernova. But the odds, especially when larger volume comes back to the market, you're not buying this into the close where Monday is a holiday too. No, Monday is full trading. Big money comes back in, logical money comes back in. Most likely CYCC will drop. And I don't want you getting the wrong idea thinking, oh, Tim bought it and he made money, now I'm buying it and I lost money. Well, if you're buying it at 90, 95 cents, $1 a share, you're not exactly following safe trading practices. And I wouldn't be surprised if this dropped immediately to 80, 85 cents a share within the first hour of the trading day. I'm hoping, for a lot of people's sake, that we get a little more spike first, but I just don't think there's high odds of it. I think that it's not a holiday, and I think the party's over for those of you who think that the holiday trading runs are going to last forever, because they don't. So I suggest you read my commentary closer, and if this does run, congrats, that would be fantastic. It wouldn't be the first time that I underestimated a stock, but I prefer to underestimate stocks than overestimate it. That's how I trade safe. So even though I took profits too quickly on my long and now probably on my short too, they're safe profits. And that's what I really want to teach. That's what's changed me in the past few years. I mean, I used to be a gunslinger. I would have $100,000 days, but I would also have a lot of risk. And as I get more and more students, and because I have the most students of any penny stock newsletter, and I have the most successful students, I see what works. And safe trading is not optional. Safe trading is key to your success. So I want to teach it. I want to practice it. I want to preach it. I want to repeat it over and over again so that you understand the difference between safe trading and gunslinging. Gunslinging is very exciting. You make 50 cents, you make $1 a share in the first few minutes of the day. You don't see that happening very often with me, namely because if I'm sending out an alert, I want to hold the stock for several hours or even several days. But if you're buying a stock right at the open, or something that there's a very volatile chart pattern. By the time you even get the alert, the price has changed, then you're pissed off and you don't learn, and it's very tough. So I really like teaching and practicing safe trading. You had all day to buy this here at 70, 75 cents, even 80, 85 cents a share. But, when you're buying it at 90, 95, a dollar, I really think that's just irresponsible. So that's it. I hope you have a happy holiday. Take advantage of these sales, guys. You have 48 hours, and then we're done here. And it's not just on the DVDs, it's on the newsletters too. So save up and invest in yourself. We can guide you, we can show you what we've learned. You can ignore us, and learn everything on your own over 10, 15, 20 years. But I highly suggest you learn from these guys who show every trade publicly. Triforce, the newest millionaire trader. It really cuts your education down and helps you make safer, better trades so you can grow your account faster and be more self-sufficient. Thank you, guys. Happy holidays again from my family to you and yours. Thanks.